Yes, ladies and gentlemen of the media, today's briefing is on the current situation. Of course, you know very well what had happened, and this is why you are all here. I call you to brief you on the current situation and the latest developments. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, you have been following from the beginning of March up to now. There are so many events that have been happening, and all these are a result of this is in accordance with the intelligence report and security and intelligence reports that Dr. Riek Machar, the first Vice President of the Republic of South Sudan, and the Chairman of the SPLM-AIO, the Chairman and Commander-in-Chief of the SPLM-AIO, had all this time been in contact with his people, with his bases, and as a result of these contacts, a lot of things happened within the month of March. As you know very well, the first thing that started was when the White Army decided to assemble and attack the Nasir garrison. Before the attack, when they had besieged the garrison, we talked with the first Vice President and told him and requested him to direct his forces, which are the White Army, who later on turned out to be the NAS forces. These are IO forces. We requested him to direct his forces to withdraw from Nasir. This was on the 3rd. This was the meeting which was held on the 3rd in the office of the President. In that meeting, Dr. Riek, instead of directing his forces to withdraw, he directed them to attack Nasir garrison, and as a result, Nasir garrison was captured in the morning of the 4th of March. After the capture, Riek Machar also promised UNMISS. He directed the late general, or Machar, General Major, he directed him to surrender to the IO forces. And the general refused. And thereafter, the UNMISS contacted him so that he can guarantee a safe passage for the UN helicopters to go and pick those who are there with the general. He promised them, but unfortunately, his promise did not have any impact, and he continued to make his promises. The helicopters went, and they could not pick those who were in the tanks, the general and his staff. They were shot at, so they came back. They went back to Malakal. The other day, he gave them another assurance, and with that assurance, the helicopters went and landed. And when the general was about to board the plane, they were all shot down, including a UN personnel who was in the helicopter. That was against his assurances that they will not be killed. So the general and his colleagues were all killed, and these were directives from the chief, the commander-in-chief, the chairman and commander-in-chief of the SPLM-AIO. Now these events continue to develop, and as a result, the IO forces, in the name of the White Army and the NAS Defense Forces, 1, attack and overran Nasir garrison. Number 2, the SPLM-AIO continued to mobilize and preach hate speech, hatred, and tribalism in the name of protection the North land. The North land, which means the land of the Nuer or the Nuer land. On the 25th of March, on the directives of Dr. Riek Machar as well, the SPLM-IO forces, which were already in the unified forces, attacked the brothers and sisters in those areas. They attacked them, they attacked their colleagues who were trained with them, deployed with them, and they were staying together. They attacked them on the 25th in Tunga, Nyalwag, Wunkur, Wadlel, and Rajaf Training Center. And they took over these areas. They took over these positions. What took place in Rajaf here is very near, and you know what happened in it. They took over these areas, and the forces here for Rajaf, the SSPDF had to move to go and take over Rajaf. They fell in an ambush by these forces, by the SPLM-AIO forces, and nevertheless, the SSPDF managed to repulse them and chase them away from the center. For other places, of course, they are still continuing under their occupation, and the SSPDF is progressing, and it is moving towards those centers in order to take them over from them. On the 26th of March, and all the directives of Dr. Riek Machar, the SPLM-IO component at the training centers of Agudmakur, Panier, withdraw to unknown destination. This is there is a training center here, which was meant actually to be the training college, where the IO forces, where the national security forces were there, combined forces. Those forces withdrew, and it is not known where they have gone. They don't have arms, but they withdrew with some of the trainers. Some of the trainers who were armed, they withdrew with them to unknown destination. Also, the forces of Panier also, who were there, they have also withdrawn with their trainers, and it is not known where they have gone to. But they are in South Sudan. Now, with this, based on the same, and the continuation of the contacts with the politicians and the generals of the SPLM-AIO, when they realized that this thing is already known and that some of them were about to be arrested, then these people, General Ye Dak, who is from the National Security, General Wesley Welebe, who is from the SSPDF in the general headquarters here, he was an IO, but he is already integrated. And Minister Pal Mai Deng. These people have disappeared. In addition to that, the person from whom you have been receiving reports and who have been writing all the time, that is the first Deputy Speaker of the Transitional National Legislative Assembly, who is Nathaniel Oyet. They have all disappeared. They are no longer in town. Some of them are here, others are outside the country. Somebody like Nathaniel Oyet, I understand that he's in Uganda at present. These are the people who have left. Based on that, and in order to save the transitional national, the the agreement, in order to save the agreement, and an exercise of his powers vested upon him, the President of the Republic of South Sudan, who is in charge of the safety and security of the lives and properties of the people of South Sudan, who is in charge of the safety and safety of the territory of the Republic of South Sudan. His Excellency President Salva Kiir directed that the Vice President, Dr. Riek Machar, should be put under house arrest pending investigation. This is an exercise of powers vested upon him, and this is why you might have heard that Dr. Riek Machar is under house arrest. He's under house arrest, will be subjected to investigation, and it is the investigation that will prove his innocence or his guilt. So this is what happened. This action is dictated by the need for the protection of the hard-won independence for which our heroes and heroines shed their blood and sacrificed their lives. There is no joke about this, because this independence which we got today was not given to us on a silver plate. It was paid for, and we have paid lives and blood. And as such, anybody who would attempt to play with this independence will not be tolerated. For that matter, His Excellency the President directed his arrest. People have been saying, well, this is a violation of the agreement. Does the agreement authorize anybody to take the lives of others? Does the agreement authorize you to do whatever that is unlawful because of the agreement? No. The agreement is an agreement governed by law, and we must abide by that law. If we decide to violate in the name of the agreement, then it is unfortunate. So with that, this is to inform you that the Vice President is under house arrest, and he will be investigated. The outcome of the investigation will be known to you. Why did the President do that? The President did this in order to save the agreement. All these efforts which are being exerted and all these games which were being played around are games which are meant to derail the agreement. There are events, all that took place is to ensure that the agreement does not go ahead, that the agreement collapses, so that we don't go for elections. So anybody who is obstructing the progress of this agreement will not be tolerated. I'm saying this because the agreement came as a result of negotiations. It did not give any party the right to obstruct the progress which is being made in the implementation of the agreement. It did not give anybody the right. To commit offenses in the name of the agreement so that he is tolerated because we are fearing that the agreement may collapse. No. Such actions are the actions that will lead to the collapse of the agreement. This is why the President had to intervene in order to prevent the collapse of the agreement. So this is the reason why Dr. Riek Machar, if you might have heard, is at present under house arrest. There are those who are in the social media. There are those who are saying, no, the Vice President is not under house arrest. I've come here to confirm that he's under house arrest, so that you don't listen to all those people. Those who try to deviate and create unnecessary havoc around the issues. With that, as a government, we call upon the brothers and sisters who have been misled or misinformed and moved in a way or the other against the government to come back and report to their respective units or institutions. Anybody who is misinformed, anybody who is misled, please come back to your unit. If you are from the regular forces, you are from the SSPDF, you are from the regular forces, or you are from IO and you are not yet integrated, please come back to the cantonment site. If you are integrated and a member of the unified forces, come back and report to your unified force. We will not question you, but we ask you to come back. We also call upon the national and the regional international organizations to give a helping hand in terms of food and shelter to the communities that are affected by this disaster which has befallen us. The government also calls upon the national and regional and international organizations to support and report credible information in relation to the current crisis and developments. I repeat, credible information. Credible information. Credible information is very important because you need to know exactly what you are reporting. It's not a question of picking it from any direction and then you say, yes, it is. This is what is being said. These days, there are so many sources of information, some of which are not reliable sources. Like what I have just said, that people are saying there is another media house which is now in the air. It is saying Riek Machar is not under house arrest. The government is saying Riek Machar is not arrested. This is one of their sources. So we want you to take the most credible information. Don't just pick from anywhere and then you quote that source. With that, let me assure you and the people of South Sudan that the situation is normal. Situation is normal and it is under full control. There are some sources which have taken up the issue of security of South Sudan. If you might have come across an information which they call a security brief by Radisson Blu. Radisson Blu, which is a business company, it is a hotel, and has taken up the security of South Sudan to be its own. And what they did, they have reduced their personnel. That is one. Number two, they have advised all the expatriates to leave the country. Imagine advising all the expatriates to leave the country. In what capacity now are they right? This is simply because everybody has decided to take the security of South Sudan into his own hands. And this is why Radisson Blu, the management of Radisson Blu decided to write that way. Radisson Blu will answer. And it is that report of Radisson Blu that has caused a lot of negative impact. And that is not the correct way, that is not the right way. With this, I urge the citizens to disregard any social media propaganda and cautions them to refrain from spreading false information and making inflammatory remarks to fuel this situation. If those of Radisson Blue can come up with such a thing, what are they doing? They are fueling up the situation. If Radisson Blue, as a company, feels insecure, they should pack and go. But they should not call on foreigners, other expatriates, and tell them, no, you are insecure. Are they in charge of their security? Even the staff of the Radisson Blue is the responsibility of the government of South Sudan, not for them to claim being responsible for the security of others. And who are those authorities that usually advise them on security issues here in South Sudan? This is how we have been infiltrated. This is how security of South Sudan has been compromised, and we will not allow that to happen any longer. Anybody who tampers with the security of South Sudan will not be tolerated. Because we are here as the government. We are here as a sovereign state. Any foreigner who does not feel secure, is up to him or her to go. But for others to tell others that, no, you don't need to stay here, go away, then we will start with them to go away. And even if it means that business closes down, we will do so. Because they are not helping us in any way, they only came to establish a business. And if they have come here to establish a business and they have decided to take over the security of our country, then that is a different thing. So I'm requesting all the media houses to refrain from collecting information from unreliable sources. Collect information from the right sources whom we can quote. Because this is the most important thing. Any information that you get, you must quote it so that when you are asked, you will be in a position to say, yes, I got it from X or Y. But when you pick it anyhow and then you begin to disseminate it, at the end of the day, you may find yourself forwarding or giving out the necessary an information which is not in place. An example. Yesterday, Mama Rebecca, the vice president, who had been sick all this time, left yesterday from Juba International Airport, going to Nairobi, and today she will be leaving for Dubai. She is going for treatment. Now, some of you have already picked it and said, oh, things are very bad. Even Mama Rebecca has escaped. Imagine. And even if I were not to come back, I think you would have said that Michael has escaped. Because I had to come back and cut my mission yesterday, and I came back yesterday. These are some of the informations that need to be verified before you could pass any information. Mama Rebecca is going on sick leave. She had been sick all this time, and she was allowed by the president to go for treatment. And this must be understood clearly. So it is unfortunate that we have started to pick some of the informations which are not called for. His Excellency the President had been very clear from day one that I will not take South Sudan back to war. And these steps which has taken up to now are steps that will prevent us from going back to war. We will not go back to war, but we will continue with the implementation of the agreement. Those who have been dreaming and trying their level best to ensure that the agreement will collapse. This agreement will not collapse. It will continue, and it will continue, and will continue to implement it in letter and spirit. It will be implemented in letter and spirit, and elections will be run. Those who do not want elections, those who are creating all these obstacles, we will overcome them. And we'll go for elections. So, whatever information that you entertain in mind, please drop that information and listen to what I'm saying. If you have your own other sources, that will be up to you. But this is the official source of the government. For that, I say thank you very much. I'm ready now to take your questions. There will be very few. And yes.
Yes. Yes.
And also, it is not also a bad idea if you want us to stay up to midnight here, I'm ready. Because I'm seeing so many hands here. Yes.
Yes.
Start from here. Tell me who are you and
الموقف newspaper. ذكرت انه النائب الاول حيطلع لي حقيقه. هل بيعني انه تم رفع حصانه النائب الاول؟
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Honor.
Yes.
My name is Akedi from Lagos State Media. Akedi James.
Akidi?
Yes. So, my
From where?
From Lagos State Media.
Leg?
LSM, yeah. So my question is, why is the government is quite concerned of peace agreement? Meanwhile, Vice President didn't say any statement in the time. So, I'm saying, why is the government my concern of peace agreement? 22 peace agreement. Meanwhile, Victoria didn't say anything since the tension started.
Why is the government concerned about
the peace agreement?
The peace agreement.
Yeah.
At the time when
Victoria didn't say anything.
Why is the government?
Yeah.
Because I will answer you very short. The rest I will give them. But the government the agreement belongs to the government. And the government includes all of us, including Riek Machar.
Riek is not worried about this peace agreement.
Well, that is his own problem. We are more concerned about the peace agreement.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Sogam John. I work for SSBC. Sogam John.
Sorghum.
Yeah, I work for SSBC. We understood and we are well aware that there are politicians who have been placed under arrest. And up to now, they have not been produced in the court of law. Why is it taking long for them to be produced in court of law? And what is the next steps for them?
Yes. Now.
Yeah, thank you very much. My name is Deji from Classic FM. Can you make us understand and the people of South Sudan, after all this, and the first Vice President put under house arrest members of SPLMIO, some of them are out of the country. What is the future of the peace agreement? You've talked about the peace agreement.
Who are you?
Esbon.
Esbon.
Yeah, from Classic.
From?
Classic FM.
What is the fate of the peace agreement?
Yes. How is it going to be implemented when some members of SPLMIO are out of the country and the leader is under house arrest?
Yes.
Simon Day.
That's right.
Simon Day.
Yes.
The Dawn newspaper. Yeah, Honorable, I would like to ask, can you tell us exactly the main charge against the first Vice President that placed him under house arrest? The public may need to know if there is an arrest warrant and the charges.
Yes. It took a bit my matter of fact. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Daniel Garang from the radio community. Yeah, you said the vice.
Which community? There are so many communities.
Okay, it is a network of community radio stations. Let me say Akoli Amete. Yeah, you said the first vice president is under house arrest and will be investigated. We want to know what happened to his role as he undergo investigation and how long will the investigation take? Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, I'm Florence Vieto, reporting for RFI. I want to know, following up on his question, whether Dr. Riek Machar is still the first vice president of South Sudan, and also to ask you to clarify the status of Madame Honorable Angelina Teny, the Minister of Interior, because there were conflicting reports on whether she's also under house arrest or not.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. My name is Deng Gai Deng from Voice of America. The house arrest of Riek Machar, which you have just confirmed, has raised concerns both within South Sudan and among the international community, including the United States of America. Machar is the second most senior person in the country. How do you justify the decision to put him under house arrest? And do you believe it is a necessary step for maintaining peace and stability in the country?
Okay, thank you very much for your questions. In the first place, let me say this. Whenever a person is accused, whenever a person is charged, the cause of it, the charges and the cause of investigation are not public issues to be discussed publicly. They are not public issues. And in the course of investigation, you don't talk of whatever that is happening over there. And as such, those of you who want to know as to why Riek Machar was arrested, he is arrested because he is charged, accused of being in conflict with the law. As to how he is in conflict with the law, this is what will be investigated. You know very well in the course of investigation, an accused person is presumed innocent until his guilt is proved. So what happens is that you are accused, yes, you are presumed innocent, but you are subjected to investigation. It is the investigation that will prove as to whether you are in conflict with the law or not. So that is the situation in which we are. I will not be telling you that Riek Machar is charged under this section of the law or under that section of the law. But he is in conflict with the law. So that is what I can say. On the issue of immunity, these are issues you have nothing to do with all this. As to whether he was released, he was arrested without immunity or with immunity, that is none of your concern. So don't ask me about the lifting of the immunity, because it is irrelevant here. There is that person who was saying, we have heard that Riek Machar had been arrested, and there are so many others who were arrested before him. Why are they not being brought before the court? Ladies and gentlemen, we should not put the cart before the horse. I say this because sending somebody to the court, it means that you have completed your investigation and you are taking the case there. Being under investigation does not take you to the court. Does not take you to the court, because when we take you to the court, we are taking you for trial. And before you go for trial, you must be investigated. We are at the stage of investigation, and as such, those of you who want to put the cart before the horse should wait patiently. The time will come when you will know that these people have been taken to the court. There is a question which says, with this situation, what is the fate of the agreement? What is the fate of the agreement? The fate of the agreement is not in danger at present. I say it is not in danger because what you have in mind, that the person who asked the question, is that, oh, the agreement has collapsed. This is what you have in mind when you ask that question. The agreement has not collapsed. Be assured that the agreement has not collapsed and it is there. The fact that this agreement, by the way, was signed by 5 political parties. 5 parties signatory to the agreement. These 5 parties signatory to the agreement, if any of them decides to opt out, it does not in any way make the agreement to collapse, because the agreement is owned by these 5 signatories. Not that only, but the fact that the chairperson of that particular party called the SPLM-AIO has been arrested doesn't mean that the whole membership of the SPLM-AIO is under arrest. It doesn't mean that the whole membership of the SPLM-AIO is against the agreement. For Riek Machar as a person, yes, this is what he has been doing, and we have sufficient evidence that will incriminate him. Riek Machar is not the IO and should not be connected as such with him. He is the chairperson of the IO, but he is not the IO. And as such, there are others who could continue with the IO without Riek Machar. So don't connect between the two, between an individual and a party. An individual is an individual, and a party is a party that could be run by anybody other than the head of that particular party at that particular moment. So the agreement is intact, it will not be affected, because it is not the IO which has all gone out. These are individuals within the IO. But the IO continues. For what is the main charge? That is an irrelevant question. This is not the right time for it. As to how long will the investigation take place? Yes, but you don't know it. And for you to say how long will the investigation take, investigation can even take 1 year. Yes, depends on the evidence collected. If as soon as we start the investigation, if the investigation is completed within a short time, definitely the investigation will be over But as long as you continue to collect more information, you continue to collect more evidence, then we don't have time limit for investigation. Investigations are dependent on the progress being made. So when you say it is in mathematics that you say 1 + 1 equals to 2, but in investigation you don't have that mathematics. It depends on the completion of investigation according to the evidence available. So that is it. That is about it. Well, about the wife of the first vice president and the minister of interior, there is nothing as such. This is another wild rumor being run by you here in the social media that the vice president and his wife have been put under house arrest. It is the vice president, even the minister of interior had been going to her office. It is her husband who is under arrest, not her. But you presume that she is under a house arrest because she is living with her husband in the same house. This is the difference. So you need to differentiate. If she was under house arrest, she would have not have been going to the office. Some of you might have seen her going to the office. But there are some of you also who are spreading that information that the first vice president and his wife Angelina have been arrested. That is not the case. The last question was what? These are
international community.
What do you say?
Actually, I was saying that the international community is concerned about the arrest of Riek Machar.
The international community.
And he's the second most senior person in the country.
Yes, even the president sometimes is arrested, not the vice president. Is it the first time in the world for a first vice president to be arrested? And why is the international community more concerned about his arrest at a time when it is not concerned about the lives that have been lost in Nasser? The international community has never condemned what happened in Nasser, but is now condemning the arrest of the first vice president because he has killed people in Nasser. Why is the international community more concerned about the arrest of somebody whose life is still there at a time when he had taken away lives? Of course, the international community, I don't know that what they call the international community. The international community. Who is an international community? That is what I can say.
Yeah.
So the international community, you are more concerned about the arrest of a vice president, are more concerned about the lives which have been taken by the first vice president.
What happened to his role as the first vice president?
That is immaterial. Even if you kill a person and you are a president, you will be arrested.
Are there evidence that he has killed people?
Don't you know what happened in Nasser? You don't know it?
So now he's under investigation. Is the work is stopping his work?
Be disciplined, please.
Yes.
Until I call you.
Yes.
Yes, you have already spoken.
No, I didn't pass. This was my colleague. Now, you're saying that the past vice president is also arrested. Do you have a plan to be removed from his house to another place?
Plan. When you are put under house arrest, it means that you are kept in your house. That is all.
But do you have a plan? Because you cannot do investigation when someone in his
Why?
house.
Why should he not be investigated in his house? What do you have in mind when you ask me that? You want to tell me that he should be taken to somewhere? Where? Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Minister. I will be going back to the issue of misinformation and spread of lies. And I think you seem to have blamed social media much and the media. But looking at what is happening now online, I agree with you that there is actually worse, if not the worst of worst, misinformation happening. But majority of it is coming from the supporters of the government and the supporters of the opposition. All of them sometimes think that they know better than the media. So they will be proud of who is arrested, who has committed what. And the government seems to be okay with those who amplify the voice of the government, and the opposition are okay with those who amplify their message. Most of them are wrong, and these are not actually the legitimate media organization. What do you do with this? Pro-government supporters and pro-opposition who are actually putting a country in a mess?
Well, the pro-government supporters are not putting the government in a mess. They are the ones setting the country right. Because if you are a government supporter, definitely...
And if it is wrong?
It cannot be wrong. Cannot be wrong, because supporters who are opposed to the government are the ones who usually come up with fake stories. They come up with so many issues, and they try by all means to mislead the public and mislead people on the information given. But for the government, we give clear answers, we give clear issues, we give clear answers. We give clear answers because we need to be frank and tell the people the right thing. Opposition will always... Opposition is opposition. Opposition is opposition, and you will never find an opposition in the world praising a government unless it is not an opposition. So,
if I may reframe my question, okay. It was not you right. You have been giving information as you are now, but I mean the online supporters of the government. Majority of them on social media and the supporters of the opposition. I don't want to be biased. All of them are the people actually coming up with all this information. And
well, it is up to you.
Okay.
It is up to you to look or to decide or to evaluate the evidence brought before you.
Okay.
The information brought before you. You need to evaluate it and take the right decision. This is all that is needed. I'm not saying don't listen to the opposition, but you listen to them and evaluate the evidence that they are producing. This is the most important. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Meeting is closed.
Thank you.